If you're worried about AI taking your job or making your business or services you offer obsolete, this episode might just change your mind. I brought back my really good friend, brother from another mother, Matt Wolfe, who spends every single day, holidays, weekends, it doesn't matter, middle of the night. This guy's always analyzing every single AI breakthrough and trend that comes out there. He's made a whole business out of it. Matt used to be the co-host of this podcast and old business partner of mine. And I'm happy he's doing what he's doing now because he gets to come back and share what he's been discovering, these breakthroughs. But what he's discovered about 2025's biggest opportunities probably isn't what most people are talking about. And Matt totally breaks it all down and gives you this on a platter so you can walk away from this episode and start building with this in mind. It can completely transform and change the way that you think about your career, your business, the way that you serve people, and just connect with humans in general. So take notes, follow Matt, go to futuretools.io. That's his website. Follow him on YouTube and beyond. Enjoy the episode. It takes a lot to grow your business. I'm talking about attracting an audience, lead scoring with your new leads and customers, and also just managing all of the channels that you got to manage. A lot of managing. So a lot of long days, late nights, weekends, hopefully not too many of those. There's a better way, and that's what Breeze. It's made by HubSpot. It's a new collection of AI tools that's even easier for people like us, marketers, to attract an audience, increase leads, and score those customers really quickly. It means you're gonna have a lot more time back and a lot to celebrate. So visit HubSpot.com/marketers to learn more. Hey, before you get into the episode, I urge you to hit pause and go check out the AI Digital Mind. It's like a digital twin of this podcast and a whole bunch of other content I've released. Go to hustleandflowchart.com/AIJoe. It's hustleandflowchart.com/AIJoe. You can literally chat with this podcast, with me and my guests in text, audio, and video for free. If you want one of these made for yourself, if you're interested, go to hustleandflowchart.com/interest, and we make these things out. So enjoy. Let's get to the episode. It's good to see you again, Matt.
You too, Joe. I saw you last weekend and the weekend before, but
Man,
it's never too well. I mean, maybe sometimes it's too much, but it hasn't gotten too much yet.
Maybe we'll take a week off. You're doing CES, right? So
yes, I'm going to CES on Monday, and I'll be there till Friday.
No. So next weekend's open. You need to hang with your
yeah, it is actually.
hang with your fam. Yeah. So for everyone, we are. This is Senor Matthew Wolfe. He is a return guest of many episodes from prior. We don't need to explain ourselves. He's back. But yeah, we're talking about our coffee dates. So we've been doing little weekly meetups, and I think it's been kind of fun for both of us to, I don't know, like chat YouTube. You don't have a lot of people to chat YouTube. Obviously, AI stuff, life. I did see you posted something about YouTube last night, which I'm going to bring up because I thought it was actually quite interesting. I have a few threads for where I want to take this episode. I told you a couple of them.
Well, let's pull on those threads and unravel this sweater.
Don't tell me what to do. All right. What sweater are we pulling off? That's just getting weird already.
I'm just thinking of the Weezer song.
I know. Oh, the Blue album is the best. The best.
Yeah.
Well, what are you excited about right now, Mr. Matt? This is January, early January. We're going to try to get this episode out ASAP. Jacob, sorry. But yeah, start of 2025, which is wild.
Yep.
I don't know. How you feeling? How you feeling? I'm just going to leave it there.
I'm feeling good. Yeah. I mean, everything's been going good in AI land and YouTube land. And we mentioned I'm going to CES next week. So I'm really excited about that. CES is like, that's like Disneyland for tech nerds, right? That's
tell me more. What is CES?
Yeah. So CES is the Consumer Electronics Show. It happens every year in Vegas. And it's where all of the like big tech companies come and unveil like some of their like prototypes that they've been working on. Like it's stuff you can't even buy yet, but it's like the future tech that they're showing off to get feedback on, right? So like last year they had like clear televisions that you could see through. They had flying cars. They had like new 3D printer technology. They had different types of humanoid robots that were like wandering around the show floor. They had like, you name it, it's like tech and gadget Disneyland heaven for nerds, right? So I just kind of like wander around with my camera trying to like film as much of it as I can and just in awe of like what's coming.
So what's been like, because you went last year, right? Was that your first year, or did
Yeah,
you
last
go?
year was my first year going. Yeah.
Was there anything like, did anything get published or like some not published but like released to the public from what you saw, or is it like years and years out?
No, there's still a lot of stuff that they show off that's like either like sometimes they announce stuff that's coming live like right now, you can get it then. Usually it's stuff that's like there's always a lot of stuff that's like here's what's coming, but it's going to be available in like 3 months. And then there's a lot of stuff that's like here's a prototype we're working on. We don't know if we're ever going to release it, right? Like that's some of the like car technology and stuff like that. The like last year they showed off like the Rabbit R1 was one of the announcements during CES, and that came out a few months later. There was a bunch of like new laptops that were announced from companies like LG that eventually came out. I don't remember like specifically, but there was like a lot of like little personal consumer electronic stuff that they did show off, and then it becomes available like later in the year. So it is kind of a mix of like here's what's coming like this year, but also here's what may never come. We're just putting out in the world and showing you what we're capable of,
just to tease you tremendously. Yeah. Is there anything that you're like most excited for when you go to these things? Because I know like you see it all, you get some pretty good ins. The fact that you have a YouTube channel that people want you to talk about their stuff, obviously. So is there anything you're looking out for?
I always look out for anything with AI in it, but the problem with CES is now everything has AI in it, right? So it's like last year there was literally AI in everything already last year. They had an AI barbecue, they had an AI toilet, they had AI beds and mattresses. They had like you name it, they put AI in everything. Like the AI toilet. Imagine a toilet where you poop in it, and then it's got sensors that analyze your poop and say like, hey, you might want to see a doctor. We noticed this within your poop.
So the
like,
biome check is like happening just
yes,
just
like a gut health check by looking at your poop, right?
Yeah.
Like that kind of stuff exists, and they show it off at CES. Now the demos, they're not pretty.
I was going to say,
they
did
don't
you
actually
demo
demo
it? That would be pretty epic marketing, though. You're like, you know what? We brought a porta potty to CES. If anyone, just right
Everybody
over there.
come watch me take a shit.
Oh, that's great. Okay, so AI toilets. What's the like? I was gonna, because one of the questions was like, what's the weirdest thing but AI toilet?
That's a pretty weird one.
I see it pretty useful, but it's like, how often do you really need to be analyzing your?
Yeah.
Any other ones that kind of stand out? We're talking old technology. This is last year. Obviously, you got new stuff.
Yeah, I mean, some of this stuff they showed off last year, and we still haven't gotten access. But I'm trying to think. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like they put AI in everything, and some stuff like doesn't need AI. Like, I saw like AI e-bikes, right? Which like, what's the point, right? Like, really, they were like e-bikes that had like ChatGPT built into it, so you can have conversations with your e-bike, right? I was telling you about like a Qualcomm car that had the ability to use Stable Diffusion inside of the car, so you can be driving down the road and say, hey, make me a cat on Mars eating unicorn poop or whatever, right? Like, and it would generate that image and put it on your display inside of your car. Like, why do we need that?
Because that's not distracting at all.
But it exists. That's a thing that exists.
All right, so yeah, the AIification of everything was the theme last year. We'll see what this year.
Yeah, that's going to be the theme this year too.
Yeah, I'm sure
last year it was like AI for everyone was, I think, the sort of slogan of the year, and this year I think it's something very similar, like AI
even more for everyone.
AI even more for everyone. Yeah, it's something like that. AI for everyone.
Wait, there it is.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like Funner California. Our buddy dubbed that, and had
yeah.
So,
Funner AI for everyone.
There you go. Oh, I like it. Gotta give credit to Berman though. Yeah. All right. So CES, that's gonna be rad. One of these days or years, I gotta get out there.
Yeah.
Because I heard it just like takes over the whole strip. So it's
pretty much, yeah. 140,000 people last year.
Okay.
It's in the Mandalay Bay. It's in the Venetian. It's in the entire Las Vegas Convention Center. It's in the Fontainebleau hotel as well. It's in. There's stuff going on at the Aria. It's like literally spread across. And that's actually sort of one of the frustrating things about CES is like I mean, the strip isn't that big, but when you put 140,000 people out there and they're all trying to get Ubers or Lyfts at the same time, and they're all trying to get from like one hotel to the convention center at the same time, it's a cluster. Like you're trying to go 2 miles, but it takes you an hour to go 2 miles, you know? So it's kind of frustrating because you kind of have to like go spend one whole day at like one venue and not really move around, because just trying to move from venue to venue takes up hours, you know?
Oh, yeah. Have you been on the this like the Tesla loop that's over
I
there?
haven't yet. No, I haven't tried that yet. But
It's cool.
the Tesla loop only goes between the convention center and like one of the hotels.
It's Resort World. Yeah, I stayed there and then I took it just to the convention center, took all the kids and family, and then just took it right back.
Yeah. It's like that's the only loop it does. It doesn't like
Yeah.
stop at other hotels or anything like that. So it's like unless where you're trying to get to is like really close to that like Resort World place, it's not super helpful. And last year when at the end of one of the days when I was at the convention center, the line to get on the Tesla loop was like a 2-hour line.
I was just gonna say, I'm like, it's not the quickest process because you're literally funneling everyone into a single car every time, and it's like,
Yeah.
We found it on an off day. It was like a Tuesday, so I was like,
I found the real cheat code during CES is the monorail. You get one of the hop on, hop off monorail passes that lasts like 5 days or whatever, and at the very end of the convention, like at 6 p.m. or whatever, when all the expo halls are shutting down for the night, the monorail's a cluster, right? Everybody's trying to funnel onto the monorail at the same time. But if you're kind of going back and forth during the day and you're not trying to get on it right as the expo's closing and stuff, it's actually pretty easy to hop on and off the monorail. So that's like the life hack if you're going to CES, is get that monorail pass.
Maybe Vegas as a whole too. I don't know. But
yeah, probably. Yeah,
but definitely CES. Yeah. Well, cool. Well, one of these years we'll share some time there.
Yeah, because the monorail does go to the convention center also.
Right. See, so you can just do it to the Tesla loop, hop on, just take the way around.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so that's exciting. That's happening soon because you traveled a metric shit ton. That's an accurate, depiction of your life last year.
Yes.
Which was crazy. Yeah. And is this year going to be a lot of travel like that for you?
I'm trying to cut back this year. There's a lot of events that it's kind of like, it's cool that I experienced them once. Do I really care to go back to them again? Probably not. I mean, there's a handful. The thing about going to events is it's really fun. I love connecting with the other people. Most of the, CES is an exception because it's like visual Wonderland, right? Like everywhere you look, you're just like, oh, that's amazing. Oh, that's amazing. Oh, that's really cool. Right. But most of the events I go to are like keynote presentations where you're basically sitting there watching a glorified like slideshow presentation, right? By yes, it might be a Jensen Huang or a Mark Zuckerberg or, some big name giving the presentation, but it's still like a glorified keynote presentation throughout the whole thing. Right. So some of that kind of stuff, it's like, that's cool. It's fun to be there. It's fun to like sort of connect with people at Facebook or Meta. Like I actually know people at Meta now that I can call on if I need to. There's other influencer creator types that are out there that I met that maybe we can do collabs now. So for me, like the real appeal of those events is actually making those connections, meeting those people, and like having sort of ins at some of those companies. But I don't really care about sitting through a lot of the presentations anymore. It's more like I love CES because it's like that visual stuff. You can get hands-on with a lot of the tech. I love Augmented World Expo because that's like all VR and augmented reality stuff. And it's all demos. You just walk around from booth to booth to booth and try this stuff on and demo various like AI or AR and XR tech, right? So like I love the like hands-on experience stuff and I would like to do more of that. But I don't know about the like keynote presentation type stuff.
We went to a lot of conferences back in the day in the marketing sphere. And I think in the early days, we went to some keynotes or whatever presentations that were going on. And then we quickly realized we're like, the fun is actually at the bar. It's connecting with people. It's getting to know.
Or in the hallways,
Or the halls, wherever. But people, because you never know what collabs. And obviously it transfers to what you're doing now with all sorts of different fun collabs that you do. So
yeah, I mean, like when we used to go to a lot of the like digital marketing related events, right? Like we did used to sit in on the keynotes, right? But we quickly learned, I mean, it was event dependent, but in the marketing world, like half the keynotes are pitches, right? Like they teach you something, but leave out an element. And at the end, try to sell you their software, their course or whatever to get the rest of it. Right. So we kind of learned like, oh, they're just going to like not give us the full picture and then pitch us something at the end. Or, there was some good events like Trafficking Conversion Summit. They sort of had like a no pitch policy. So people would get up on stage and try to like give their coolest stuff. But I mean, how many of those events did we go to where the coolest stuff that we learned came from like sitting at a bar with somebody at 12:30 a.m. and they were breaking down one of their processes, or, hanging out at Denny's at 2 a.m. while somebody tells us about this crazy cryptocurrency thing that's about to bubble up and we totally ignore them. Like, how much of that kind of stuff is really where the value is at those events?
You're twisting the knife. I knew you were going to bring it up too. We won't go into details, but I think you've heard of this cryptocurrency. It was roughly, 15 years ago at this point. It was something like that.
It was 2010. Somebody
Exactly.
told us about, I won't name the cryptocurrency by name, but its like initials are BTC. And at the time it was a couple bucks. And now it's a little bit more than that.
We were told all about how to mine it, how it works, and all. And Matt and I, mind you, I think it was even later than 12:30. It was like 1 or 2 in the morning. It was just like over our heads.
Yeah.
And the story continues, and we'll leave it there. But early days for that old BTC.
We should be retired millionaires on a beach right now.
Yes. Moving on. Let's see. You're a man of the trends and of the times, and when it comes to 2025, I feel like, I'm curious, what are you thinking about in terms of like what's exciting, what's developing, like maybe what you're obsessed with right now? I have a list of different tools and things there's a million tools, obviously. Futuretools.io. If you don't even know what that site is, just go there. Matt runs it, him and his team, and AI bots.
Yep.
Like, I guess let's start off, like, what's the trend of 2025 in your eye when it comes to AI? Just tech that's like that us common folk can use and actually implement in our businesses and our life and all that. Not the flying car shit and all that.
Yeah, I think 2025 is going to really be the year of AI agents. If you're paying attention to like the AI world at all, you're probably hearing the talk of AI agents bubble up quite a bit. So basically an AI agent is like AIs that can use tools on your behalf. So right now, like imagine you're writing a blog post for WordPress. Well, if you're going to use AI, you might go to ChatGPT and say, hey, write me a blog post about X. It writes you the blog post, and then hopefully you double check it to make sure it actually reads well and you don't leave in like as a large language model in the actual text, right? Which a lot of people tend to do. But it will write you an article, you copy, paste it, put it into like WordPress. Then maybe you're going to create AI thumbnail for it. So you go to Midjourney or Stable Diffusion or Leonardo or whatever, and you create a thumbnail for that, and then you upload it. Well, if you were going to use an AI agent, it would be more like you pull open your phone and say, make me a blog post about the coolest drones of 2025, right? And all you do is you give it that prompt, and what it will do it will go to ChatGPT, it will go and do the research for you, it will write the article in ChatGPT, it will copy it, it will paste it into WordPress, it will open up your image generator of choice and then generate an image for you that goes along with it. It will take that image, put it into WordPress for you, and then press publish, right? All you did was tell it, make me a blog post about X, and it literally did everything else. You go to your WordPress website, it's live, right? That's kind of like an agentic framework workflow of like writing a blog post. Or let's say you need to go on a trip and you want to go with your family to Hawaii in April, right? You can say, hey, I want to do a trip for 4 in April to Hawaii. Look at my calendar, pick the best dates and book the trip, right? It will go look at your calendar, find out what dates you have available, go look at the airlines, look at what flights are available, price check the flights, find the cheapest flights, find the best time to fly out, book your hotel for you, and then send you an email saying you're all booked, here's your itinerary, right? That's sort of an agentic process. I think we're going to see a lot of that kind of stuff in AI in 2025, where you give it one thing you want to accomplish that might be like a multi-step process that uses multiple websites, multiple tools, and from your one prompt, it's going to go do all of those things and then come back to you and say, I'm done, here's the result.
Man. And it's essentially it's workflows, right? Like if to kind of dumb it down for anybody to understand, it's like, hey, okay, you can string things along almost like a Zapier or make.com workflow, right? Where there's like a series of steps and it essentially accomplishes those based off of some preset
Yes, but the
thing.
difference between like a make.com or a Zapier or the Mind Studio or one of those kinds of tools is that those ones you sort of pre-build a flow. You tell it like, hey, go, start by like you can what I just explained, you can do with those tools today, right? You make a workflow where you can tell it, give it a prompt of what you want it to create, and then using make.com, you can create this visual workflow where it will write the blog post, do the research, make the image, publish it to WordPress for you. You can build that kind of stuff right now with those tools. What an agent would do is you wouldn't even pre-build the workflow. The agent would just know what tools it needs to go use, right? So you don't even get into make.com or Zapier or any of those tools and build out the steps. You just tell it, here's what I'm trying to accomplish, and it knows what tools to use, and it will go and do all those things. I think a lot of like make.com and Zapier, I think right now those are like a middleman for like an agentic kind of workflow. I think those middlemen are going to get cut out. I think you're going to see Claude and ChatGPT and Gemini and all these various AI models that are out there be able to just do that stuff. You tell it what you want it to do, and it knows what tools are available, or it will do the research to figure out what tools are available, go use those tools on your behalf. I think it's going to be more like that, where you're not pre-building anything. You're just going to a AI tool, giving it a prompt, and it does it all.
So it sounds like the LLMs like OpenAI and Anthropic and Gemini, like I said, I would imagine that's probably where they're building things internally, right? So it'll just kind of happen based off, and I'm sure you'd have to integrate various things. Like I know Google Drive is now integrated with like ChatGPT and Claude, and obviously Gemini has it all too. So it's like it's already starting to like Gemini feels like it's maybe the closest to that because it's like looping in all their apps and everything. I guess what do you see there?
Yeah, so Anthropic already released a feature for Claude called Tool Use.
That's right. Yeah.
And it's sort of a pain in the ass to set up right now. You actually have to install some stuff locally. You have to use like a Docker container that runs like Python script inside of it. And it's not for like tech noobs to set up and use right now. Eventually it will just be built into Claude where you can tell Claude to use tools and it will do it. Right now there's like this whole setup process, but I've used it before, and right now it can open up, like I did an example on one of my videos with it where I had it go to my YouTube channel, sort it by most popular videos, copy the titles and the view numbers of all my most popular videos, and then pull them into a spreadsheet. Right. And so I just gave it that one example, and it literally navigated to YouTube, went to my videos page, sorted it by popular, and copied and pasted titles and download numbers, opened up an Excel spreadsheet and pasted titles and numbers into the Excel spreadsheet. And it did all of that autonomously. Now, I ran out of like OpenAI or Claude credits, right? Like it hit like Claude has rate limits, which is one of the biggest downsides of Claude right now is it's pretty easy to hit their rate limits. Well, I was hitting their rate limits on using the tool features, so I couldn't actually get it to accomplish fully what I wanted to without it hitting the rate limits. But we got a glimpse of like, I just told it to do this thing, and it went and used all of these tools for me and gave me the result that I wanted. So we've seen that with Claude. OpenAI said towards, like, I don't remember if they said it in November or December of 2024, but they said we're looking at probably January to release the tool use for ChatGPT, which is the same kind of idea. We recently saw ChatGPT roll out a Windows app and a Mac app that can actually look at your desktop and look at what you're doing and give you feedback based on what you're doing. And some tools, not all tools, but some tools it can actually interact with on your behalf. Most tools it still can't yet, but eventually it's going to have access to be able to like move your mouse around, type stuff on your keyboard for you, and actually take actions on your computer for you. Claude can do that right now, but it's very, very archaic. And we know Google's working on that as well because they want to integrate with Gmail and Calendar and Drive and all of their suite of tools to sort of tie them all together using AI. So yeah, we're already seeing that kind of stuff happen. It's just going to get more and more sophisticated and more brain dead simple for anybody to be able to use it.
That's what it seems like. It's like all the LLMs it's the engine behind everything essentially, right? Like it's like that's where all the money's getting invested. It's the foundational layer. You have all these other startups that are plugging into them for, obviously the data and power. So there's, at least my brain goes to, you're probably going to get a base level of agents in all the LLMs of some flavor, right? Like a basic, and then you'll probably see startups start to pop up for any kind of vertical or like specialized kind of use, right?
I don't think we're going to see a ton of new large language model companies pop up, right? I think the companies that are already doing it are already too far ahead, right? You've got OpenAI, who's probably the leader. You've got Gemini, who's not too far behind. I would say Anthropic's probably like in third place right now as far as like the most capable models. Gemini and OpenAI's O3 are pretty close to each other, but O3 nobody has access to outside of OpenAI. So the best model available right now for consumers to use is actually Gemini. Google doesn't get enough credit. Gemini is like the best model as voted on by users and by capabilities and all that kind of stuff. So you've got OpenAI, you've got Google, you've got Anthropic, and then you've got a few companies building open source models. You've got Mistral, you've got Llama, Meta basically building Llama. There's a handful of Chinese companies like Quinn is one of them, and then there's DeepSeek is the other one that's like a large, it's an open source model that's like as good as GPT-4o now. So you've got a handful of companies that are building these large language models, but they're so far ahead now that it would be really, really tough for new companies to come in and build another large language model like the level of these large language models. So I think what you're going to see is any company trying to get into AI now, they're just going to go leverage one of these models and build on top of it. I don't know if you heard about like Inflection AI. That was it Reid Hoffman's company?
Ooh,
I think Reid Hoffman was like one of the big investors in that one. But basically Inflection AI built a chatbot called Pi, which was like a conversational chatbot that you can have discussions with. And then basically, I think, was it Microsoft? Microsoft acqui-hired them basically, and took all of their employees, and Inflection kept on going. And then when Inflection kept on going, they basically said, we're not going to try to build new large language models. We're just going to leverage existing ones. Character AI, same thing. Character AI was a company that was building its own large language models underneath, but Google, OpenAI, Anthropic were all so far ahead of them. They basically said, we're throwing up our hands. We're not going to keep on pursuing building large language models. We'll just start leveraging what exists. So I don't think you're going to see many more new companies build large language models. I think all companies now are going to just plug into one of the existing ones.
Makes sense, because I think I don't think I shared this with you actually, but there was a report I need to that kind of broke that down. Is like, here's the landscape of how things are. It's like you have the LLMs. That's where they're raising billions of dollars, and I mean you would know the amounts even more. I think Anthropic, maybe it's like a month or so ago, got like what, 4 billion. Or maybe it was more.
6 billion from Amazon. Yeah, 6
from
billion.
Amazon.
Yeah.
6. Okay, yeah. So I was off a couple, but it's like it keep like to compete against. It's going to be tough. So
in the words of one of our friends, every couple billion counts.
It was a different letter, I thought, but yeah. But he's right. He's right. So yeah, good reference. But it's absolutely true. So that's where the startups is like the layer of. You know, like you have the now with the LLMs, which they'll keep evolving, but it's like you're not going to compete against them. So if you're thinking of like a vertical or something to, you know, I don't know, maybe there's like an agent, and I'm curious of your thoughts on this, because with all the shifts that are happening, people I think with agents think of like, oh my God, it's going to replace so many jobs or processes. Like I know marketing is probably one of the fastest or easiest things to automate or agentify, because there's just like, it's a sequence of steps. It's kind of like data analysis. It's like, okay, so based off of this data, input this, give me this result, you know, and like, how should we craft new copy or whatever it might be. I guess like opportunities and threats. I'm curious of your mind, like what pops up.
When it comes to the marketing thing, right, and
it doesn't have to be marketing either.
Yeah, no, but I want to talk about this. You know, this is obviously all in the theoretical right now, right? We're just sort of speculating what could happen. But, you know, when it comes to marketing, if everybody has the same capabilities and everybody is able to be a world-class copywriter, everybody is able to be world-class at SEO, world-class at building funnels, world-class at email marketing, right? Like you name a marketing sub niche, if everybody in the world has tools that makes them as good as everybody else, well, that sort of devalues all of it across the board. So I still think marketing is going to be important, because the best marketers are going to be the marketers that figure out how to like move above what everybody is capable of doing. And so I think you're going to see like, okay, copy has gotten really, really good, and page building has gotten really good. And I think, you know, looking at threats, that's going to make it harder to determine what is a legit product versus not legit product. If everybody can make a professional looking website with really solid copy that's really compelling, how easy does that make it for scammers to also create crap like that people are going to fall for? So I really, really think that in marketing specifically, if everybody can do it, it's of very little benefit to pretty much like everybody as well. So you're going to still have to figure out how to stand out. And I still think humans in the loop are going to be what makes a lot of this stuff stand out. Like humans that understand human psychology, understand what makes people want to buy versus not want to buy. And yes, AI is going to get better and better at that. But again, you've got to stand above the rest. Marketing is all about standing out above what everybody else is doing. And if everybody can do all this shit really, really, really good, what makes you stand out above that? And I think there's always going to be that game in marketing of like, okay, now everybody can do this. How do I do it slightly better? And so I don't really see it taking a ton of marketers' jobs. I think it's going to make marketers' jobs and lives a lot easier. I think it's going to democratize marketing, right? But I think the best marketers are going to figure out how to even stand above what AI is able to create.
And pause really fast on that note, because I absolutely agree. Because I feel like this pulls out the need to have like the touch of a human has touched this thing, because you're right. Everyone democratize marketing. It's everyone's going to be a world-class marketer to however that's graded, because that will change with technology as well. But it reminded me of Greg Eisenberg on Twitter. I saw him post. He's a great follow, obviously.
Yeah. He's a good buddy of mine. Yeah.
Oh, is he? Okay, cool. So I love his stuff. And somebody said, he's like, I feel like a trend is going to be one of these, like, you know, writing that isn't perfect. Yeah. Websites maybe that look kind of like shit. Or you know, it's like
it's going to go back to the days where all the websites are built on like they look like they were built on GeoCities and have like little flaming skulls next to the title, and everything's animated GIFs with smiley faces that spin on a black background with green text.
I can literally visualize. I had one of those skulls.
Everybody did.
It was a green one though, and it was rotating. I was on Tripod, not what was it? Angel Fire.
Well, there's Angel Fire, GeoCities, Tripod.
Those were the top three, I think, back in the day, right?
Yeah, there was one more that I'm drawing a blank on, but yeah, I think those were the biggies.
I was a Tripod guy,
but I bet you were.
You would know. No, I mean, oh man,
we're way too close at this point, Joe.
Well, it's funny because we would go places. This is a little side note. Like we go places and like people would say, "You guys look the same." And I'm like, well. Literally today, we both fired on the the Riverside that we're recording. I'm like, we're wearing the same damn shirt. Like, come on, like, we haven't seen each other. It's been a week, but still, some things don't change. All right, what other things popped in mind? I brought up marketing. I'm happy you made that note, because I think that's a pretty common. I think it's a good frame to have. And also on that note too, you and I talked about it. I'm starting to put out some videos up on this. Like, I feel that with AI, the need for human connection, and not even the need. I feel like having that human element is going to get more important than we all realize. And, you know, through technology connecting us in different ways, talked about Delphi and the way that, like, I feel like you can connect with anyone on their personalized level now to like crazy extent, but it goes with like any other thing, like agents. Okay, cool. I want something done for me, you know, with my liking, and this robot or whatever will do it for me.
Yeah.
Maybe it's to connect with someone else. Or I feel like that human intervention connection is going to be more important than we all think.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think humans being involved in the whole thing is going to be a marketing tactic, right? Like one of the things that I've been kind of shouting from the rooftops on my channel for like a couple of years now is that when it comes to like video on YouTube specifically, we're seeing this huge trend of faceless videos, right? Where people are using AI tools to just quickly generate videos and put them on YouTube, right? And they're, you can spot them from a mile away if you are, AI, right? Like I can spot like, oh, this was 11 Labs. You can sort of tell in the pacing of the voice and they're like, okay, it might sound like a real person, but they're speaking very robotically, right? You can sort of pick that kind of stuff up. And we're seeing a lot more of these YouTube channels just like have ChatGPT create a script, have 11 Labs create the audio for the script, and then they're either using AI or like a story blocks type site to go and overlay the whole thing with B-roll, never putting their face on camera. And I think that's a very sort of transient trend. I think we're going to see that happen for a small window of time. People are going to get sick of that kind of stuff, and they're going to want to connect with real humans again. That's why I think like, if you look on YouTube, there's a lot of AI channels now, right? When I really started to focus on AI a few years ago, there was a handful, but there wasn't many. Now there's like thousands of them. The ones that tend to be popular, that get the most views, are the ones where there's an actual real human being showing their face and sharing their ideas and, talking about their opinions and stuff. The ones that are like these faceless channels, you're seeing not always do quite as well. There's a few exceptions. There's a couple channels out there that are doing really, really well with it, but I think they were the ones that got in sort of the earliest and managed to hop on the trend with the right timing and everything. But the new channels that are popping up that are these faceless channels, they're just not really getting as much traction, at least in the AI sort of tech space. So I really, really think that human element of being a real person, that if we're walking around at CES, you can potentially bump into me. We can get a selfie together. We can, nerd out for 10 minutes or whatever. Like that kind of interaction, I think is really valuable. It's also the reason I started doing weekly live streams, right?
That's right.
Like I want to interact with the community. I want people that are interested in AI to jump on and ask me questions and hear me actually say their name and respond to the questions and show I am not an AI. I just love talking about this stuff. I'm a huge nerd that loves nerding out. That's why I'm doing these live streams, so we can just nerd out together. And I think those sort of like human connections are going to be super valuable. And like, that's the next marketing strategy, is like, be a real person and don't be a dick.
That's pretty much it. I think that comes up pretty often, like when we hang out too. Like, at least like be cool to people, with and I know we experienced in just going to Padre games and like, like it's something we bring up because I feel like, I don't know, for whatever reason, a lot of people, at least online, can be straight up dicks, obviously, in the comments of YouTube. I mean, you've experienced that a lot. Twitter's probably not, it's better, but still, but I don't know. Yeah, the whole thing around human connection, it just rings more and more. I'm just like, this is so much more important than I think most of us realize. And hopefully AI helps bring us a lot more together in a lot of ways. It's definitely, internet connected the world, AI usage, what adoption is like. I don't know how many times quicker than the internet was and phones. So it's like you have AI adoption is just through the roof all throughout the world.
Well, when it also, coming back to the topic of like AI sort of taking jobs from people. I welcome it.
As do I.
Here's the thing. Like, there's this like double sort of thing that's happening with people where they come home at the end of a long day and complain about how much they hate their job, but then at the same time they jump on Twitter and talk about how scared they are that AI is going to take their job, right? I think the jobs that people don't enjoy doing, the ones where you're coming home and you're complaining at the end of the day about how much you hate your job, those are likely the ones that AI is going to take first, right? And like, why are you freaking out about that? I don't want to be like unsympathetic. I am very, very sympathetic. I am very empathetic. Whenever people talk about like their fears with AI, I like to listen. I like to address them. I like to talk about them. I like to understand where all these, like all sides of things are coming from. And so I know saying that sounds very unempathetic of like, screw your job. You hate it anyway. Why do you care about it? Like, why do you care if you lose it? Well, also jobs create income and you need that income to survive. And I understand that part of it, but could we also possibly see this as like a blessing in disguise? If AI takes that job, maybe it means you're going to move on to something that you actually want to be doing. Maybe it's something you actually enjoy doing. Maybe it's something that you're not coming home at the end of the day going, I hate my job, right? Like maybe that's what it's going to create for you. Maybe we can look at that glass half full versus glass half empty side of things and look at this as like, if AI ends up taking your job, well, then A, it probably wasn't the most skilled job in the world. B, it probably wasn't the most fulfilling job in the world. Maybe this is that blessing that you need to go and find something that is what you really want to be doing. Saying that, and I'll step off my soapbox here in a second, but saying that there is no better time in the history of humanity to go and create your own career, to go and build your own thing, to go and create your own software product and try to sell it, to create your own YouTube channel, your own podcast, your own blog, your own sort of content business, your own agency to help other people. It has never been freaking easier to do any of that. You've got ChatGPT, you've got Perplexity, you've got tools to make graphics for you, you've got AI tools to do SEO and copywriting for you, you've got tools where you can give it a prompt and it will build software for you. Like, there has never been a better time to start building some little side hustles. So when your job goes away, the one that you hate, the one that you say at the end of the day, I hate my job, but also complain that AI might take it away. Well, guess what? Start building something else with everything at your disposal, because if you build something else with everything at your disposal, you won't give a shit when it goes away. In fact, you'll probably be cheering that now I get to focus my time on the thing that I want to be doing. All right. Soapbox off.
And you're damn right. And yes, and if you are offended by anything Matthew Wolfe just told you, you should start listening to Matt Wolfe's videos more. Mine too. But start building this stuff. Like, literally, if it's pissing you off, it probably means there's some truth behind it. But I feel like a lot of the world, I think there's just a misunderstanding of what is happening right now. I'm going to pause this really fast to go shout out another podcast that I think you should peek at yourself. It's called I Digress. It's hosted by Troy Sandage, and it's also brought to you by the HubSpot Podcast Network, the audio destination for business professionals. Thank you. And what I love about this podcast is that he keeps it short and snappy. It's actionable and to the point. It's under 30 minutes. I Digress actually helps you eliminate a bunch of complexities and complications, confusion when it comes to your business, your marketing, gives you a bunch of frameworks and strategies to help you scale and actually be sustainable with whatever success means to you. So go check it out yourself. I urge you to go listen to I Digress wherever you get your podcasts. And I'm gonna do a quick shout out one more time for the thing I talked about at the top of the episode, which is the AI version of me and of this podcast and my YouTube videos and all these things. It all lives within this AI platform. I used Delphi.ai to create it, and I want you to use mine. It's totally free. Go to hustleandflowchart.com/AIJoe. That's hustleandflowchart.com/AIJoe. Test this thing out. It's crazy. You can type with it, talk with it. You can even use video, and you can look up anything from this podcast. You can ask a question about your business, life, any scenario. It kind of learns about you with the information you give it. It's rad. You will love it. And also, there's a lot of people who are asking, how do I get one of these? How do I build it out? The cool thing is my team and I have been building a ton of these every single day. I've used the platform, Delphi.ai, for 2 years. I'm actually one of their advisors because I was one of their first users and just gave them a ton of feedback. I love it. But we build these things. So if you want to use it for lead generation, for, you have all this content as an expert, author, coach type person, we can put that into this digital brain and make it interactive. You could use it for customer service, internal training for your team, for your organization, lots of uses. If you would like one of these, I can pass over an exclusive deal. There's no one else that's offering this out there. I work closely with Delphi as one of their partners, agency partners, to build this out. So hit me up, type hustleandflowchart.com/interest into whatever browser. Again, that's hustleandflowchart.com/interest, and hit me up. Let's build this thing together. All right, back to the episode. Any new technology, especially something like this that comes on so fast, because literally the rapid adoption, it's faster than anything else as a whole globally. And it's something like 2x times faster than just mobile phones or smartphones, I think it was. And now, at least like this was December, it's like 55% of the world has used AI in some way. And that's the entire planet. It's like, holy shit. That's a lot. That means everyone's starting to, you'll start waking up, just by just using ChatGPT. First time you use that, you're like, whoa, I can do that now. But think about all the other things you haven't even experienced yet. There's a list of tools I just posted on my Twitter from A16Z. They basically, it's like their apps unwrapped, and it has, I don't know, like 20 apps on here. And I reposted that. I'm like, start testing this because, once you understand how this stuff works, I mean, we talked about agents, Matt, and I want to go down this again, but it's like, there's so many opportunities to build out these agents or show other companies that might really benefit from having them in their companies. And you could be the one that stewards that or advises them or consult, whatever the hell. Like, these are just some ideas I have immediately. Like, if shit hit the fan right now for whatever reason, I would do that because everyone hears the trend. It's like, well, great, fulfill it. Get really good at a part of that.
Yeah. I mean, newsletters, right? Newsletters like on Beehive or ConvertKit, or I guess it's just called Kit now. But like, it's so easy to build a newsletter. Pick a niche that you're excited about. Have AI sort of help you round up the news. Have AI help you like organize it into a newsletter that reads nicely. And then go in and spend 10 minutes putting your own voice, your own input into it, your own opinions into it. You've got a newsletter business right there in whatever niche you want to build it in that takes you, let's say it's a weekly newsletter. It takes you probably a half hour a week to run this newsletter, right? Like, there are so many opportunities. Like, you can use Cursor or Bolt or Windsurf or Devin or one of these AI software tools that are out there and create like a simple software that solves a problem for people and go and sell it for $10 a month to use it, right? You get 1,000 people to use it. You're now making 10 grand a month, which is probably more than you're making in that dead end job that you complain about at the end of the day.
And you can hang out at home with your family or wherever the hell you want to live and do your thing. And I would say, Matt, I'm surprised you missed this, but it's like, go make some YouTube videos based off of the newsletter you just constructed.
Or the other way around, make YouTube videos and then have them use AI to convert them into a newsletter.
Bingo. It doesn't matter, but just do the damn thing.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. I mean, like, content outlines or brainstorming, a lot of that, you're not going to get all the creativity from AI, but at least like, yes, spark it will spark back with some more ideas, and then it's up to you to do something with it. And
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I like that. That was a good soapbox. Where would you, all right, so you mentioned, so let's say like if you were to go and build some agents right now or something that, maybe it's not a full-blown agent like, Anthropic has done or OpenAI is coming out with, Gemini. Like, where would you point people to start? You already mentioned Cursor, Bolt. There's a couple other ones you said.
Windsurf and Devin. Those are all software tools. So those are all coding tools. Those are tools where you tell it what you want it to. I mean, Devin's a little bit different. Devin is like, you hire a Devin. I don't know. It's very weird. It's, it's like $500 a month, and Cursor's $20 a month. And for me, works just as good.
Well, our buddy, Brad Poole, he's literally building out a software for his company right now in Cursor because I pointed him to Rowan's masterclass, your buddy.
Yeah.
And he literally spent about $40 and has built a complete app, front end, login, back end.
It's wild.
To manage like a whole financial, all with Cursor. And he's like, holy shit.
Yeah, we did a podcast episode over on the Next Wave, me and Nathan. We brought on one of our friends, Riley Brown. And on that episode, it was like an hour-long episode. We built an app in real time on that episode. It was like a sort of like Evernote style app that was like a web clipper where you share notes and stuff. And we built that whole thing in the course of that episode. And by the end of the episode, we had a working app, and we just did it live on a podcast. Right. So it is freaking wild. I did that 2 years ago on my YouTube channel where I built a little basic side scroller video game on on my YouTube channel. That one took me a good like 10 hours to build. Then I edited the video down to like 30 minutes, but it's gotten way better. You can code up anything. And one of the things I've sort of been obsessed with lately is trying to solve little problems in my own business.
Tell me
and write little scripts in like Python or whatever to solve those problems. Right. Like, for example, and a lot of this stuff I build already exists, but I wanted just like a simpler tool that's specifically tailored to my needs. So like I try to download a lot of images from the internet so that I can use them as like, memes or whatever to put on my videos or things like that. And a lot of times they'll download in that WebP format, and everybody freaking hates WebP format because you can't pull them into like video editing software, and there's a lot of tools that don't accept WebP, and it's just annoying, right? So I created a little Python script that opens up a box on my computer. I drag a WebP file onto it, it converts it to a JPEG, and then deletes the original WebP. And all I do is drag and drop it. And it's the simplest app in the world. I built it in like 20 minutes with Cursor, but it solves a problem for me. And then I started running into like these AVIF files or whatever they're called. Same thing. They don't really run in a lot of apps. I couldn't pull them into my videos. So I added to that app, all right, also accept AVIF files, and it accepted that, right? And then I ran into this issue where on YouTube, right, if you try to upload a PNG as your thumbnail and the file size is too big, like it doesn't let you upload a file that's bigger than 2 megabytes on YouTube. Yeah. So I went and added to this this software tool. If I drop in a PNG file, I want you to convert it to a JPEG and make sure it's under 2 megabytes, right? So now I have this file, this it's just a little box that opens up on my PC. Any image file I drop into it, it deletes the original file. It makes a JPEG of the same existing image under 2 megabytes so that I can use it on a YouTube thumbnail. And I like pretty much have that app open on my computer all day, every day. And as I'm downloading images, boom, toss it into there, and it just replaces the image. I don't have to open up an image editor and save it as a new file. I don't have to open up any sort of browser tool to do it. Like literally drag, drop, done. So that's one of the files that I built. Another one
that was using Cursor.
That was using Cursor. Cool. Another one that I built is a transcriber. So like I was using Descript, right? I don't really edit with Descript. I don't really do the whole thing where I go and delete sentences and edit with Descript. What I was using Descript for was like a really quick transcription service. So I would make a video, I would pull it into Descript, get the transcription of that video, and then I would take that transcription, I would open up Claude, I would plop that whole transcription into Claude and say, help me come up with titles and thumbnails for this video. And I'm paying, I don't know, $30 a month or something like that to use Descript. And all I was using it for was a transcription tool. That's it. That was the only feature I was using it for. So OpenAI has an API called Whisper, the Whisper API, which does the same thing. It takes an audio file, converts it to text, and gives you a transcription of it. So I use Cursor to build a little app where when I'm done with a video, I literally drag and drop the video file into this same thing. It's just like a little box that opens up on my computer. I drag and drop the video file into it. It uses Whisper, transcribes the whole thing. And then once the transcription is done, it then says, it has another prompt in it that says, all right, read this transcription and give me ideas for titles and thumbnails. And then it automatically creates a little text file in a folder on my computer. And in that text file, it's got the full transcription along with potential titles and thumbnails for that video, right? So I was able to cancel my Descript membership because all I was using it was with a transcription service. And I don't need to go to multiple places. I just throw in a video file, it makes the transcription, and then spits out a title and a bunch of title and thumbnail ideas for it. So I don't have to go to Descript. I don't have to copy and paste my transcription into Claude and then get the output. It's just drag, drop, done. It takes 5 minutes or something to transcribe it, but once it's done, I have everything I need, and I was able to cancel a couple tools to do it.
Dude. Well, and speaking of that, you were even telling me the other week you took all of your financial statements recently from like credit cards, whatever, at your bank, and you threw them into Claude, right?
Yes.
And then you basically had to analyze to find all the recurring subscriptions you have. So, and obviously we don't need to go into detail, but the point is we all have a shit ton of recurring subscriptions, AI tools or not, that are $20 a pop, $30 a pop that add up. That's probably a really good way to find ideas of what to make. Like you're probably just using maybe a feature tool per tool, or per thing. Like, and I don't know if this exists, Matt, but like with OpenAI, the API, like Whisper is one of the features or the tools you have access to there. Like, is there an easy way to see like what's possible and what you can API into to basically do some kind of action
I'm sure on the OpenAI documentation, there's like all the
Yeah.
various APIs that are available, because OpenAI has a lot of APIs, right?
Yeah,
People
yeah.
think of OpenAI and they think of ChatGPT, but we also forget that OpenAI also owns DALL-E 3. OpenAI also owns Whisper, which is a video or audio to text feature. OpenAI owns. They
Suno.
also have Sora, right?
Sora.
Yeah.
Suno.
So like, but Sora, I don't know if it has an API yet or not.
Yeah.
I can't.
That might be too early for that.
But there's now the there's now the O1 API as well, which does a whole bunch of like logic and reasoning and essentially double and triple checks its work before it gives you its output to make sure it's giving you the best possible output.
Yep.
O1 has an API now. Advanced voice mode has an API now where you can create apps where you talk to the app just like you do with advanced voice mode on ChatGPT. That has an API now, so you can build that into apps. You jump over to Claude. Claude has a lot of APIs like that, those types of things as well. You jump over to Google. Google has APIs for all that kind of stuff. Google has APIs where you can upload image files, video files, text files, and have it do stuff with them. I don't think VO2 has an API yet because it's not really publicly available yet. But like Google also has Imagen or Imagine. I don't know how it's pronounced. They've got their own image generator. All of these things have APIs that you can plug into and build tools on the back of. And right now, when it comes to APIs, most companies are just like shopping on price. They're like, which API can I use for the cheapest to build this thing?
Yeah. I mean, and this is, again, why it's so damn cool of a time. Like, back to your soapbox of like, find a problem that a lot of people have, or maybe some archaic thing that hasn't been AIified yet. Or something that that's just going to be obsolete because of what's happening out there. And yeah, start by building it for yourself. I think that's always the best way. It's like, build a tool that you need to maybe save some money, save some time, your team time, whatever it is, do something better. But then that could be a product. Go put it out there as it could be maybe a Google or a Chrome extension or some standalone app.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all these apps, all these little apps that I make for myself just to solve my own small problems, I take them and toss them up on GitHub as open source. So any of these apps that I build for myself, I throw them on GitHub, and then anybody can go and download and build off of them and make them better. Like I mentioned, I put out that game a couple of years ago that was like just a run and jump game where there's like little platforms, there's coins on the platform, and it's like an infinite scroller. You go and you just try to collect coins, and then eventually you fall into the lava, and then you try to beat your score on the next round.
I played it. I remember that one.
And like I put that up on GitHub, and then I saw a whole bunch of people start to fork it and make better games out of it. And they put like more intense backgrounds onto it, and they put like the ability for like the little character to shoot guns, and they put like little aliens on the platforms that try to attack you so that you can shoot them off the platforms. And I saw like a whole group of people start to build off that stupid little platform game that I made and actually turn it into something quite a bit cooler than what I started with. And I'm like, that's so cool to see. It's like I put this seed out into the world and watched it grow. Now I'm watching other people sort of harvest that plant and build cool shit with it,
I gotta find you on GitHub for whatever reason you're not coming up.
I think it's just Mr. eFlow. It's the same username pretty much everywhere.
I forgot the Mr. Yeah, I'm like, someone else has your eFlow here. There he is. Okay, cool. Yeah, everybody go follow Matt and see what he's talking about, because I think a lot of these things, like me, has never been call myself a coder, but even though I built that tripod site back in the day, I know basic HTML and stuff. But like it's not complicated, because like with Cursor or Bolt, it's all a prompt. Like you can one shot, I've heard the term like Rowan Chang talk about, and like, oh, you can one shot this app, and you can make some cool shit with just like one prompt. But obviously you can break it down into little steps like you would with any chat GPT prompting. You might
I would say like typically you can get like the bones of something decent with one prompt. More often than not, you're going to go in there and give it more prompts and improve it and go, oh, I wish it had this feature, and add stuff to it and things like that. But you're going to get like a pretty good like rough draft of whatever your product is with a single prompt these days.
And dude, I just found your AI jump game, and it has 13 forks.
Nice.
I'm like, that's pretty cool, man. That's,
that's something I want to do a follow-up video on, where I take my existing game, pull it back into Claude, or not Claude, Cursor, pull it into Cursor, and then actually build off of it and improve it and make it even cooler myself, and then show off that process on a video.
I think you should, man. Yeah, revisit it, dude. I think this would be a cool little callback. But But what I was saying is like with GitHub, for instance, like just understanding, okay, this whole flow of, hey, you can make something with just some prompting. You don't need to be a dev.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it probably helps if you knew the language and all that. But watch some YouTube videos. Watch your video. You know, we'll link it, Jacob. Let's link that in the notes. You know, from Next Wave podcast. But it's like if you start to just kind of see the process, and this is how I've learned and got more comfortable. It's like, oh, it ain't that bad. And you're not going to break anything. It's super cheap, or try it for free.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can just copy something that you made already, Matt, or someone else on GitHub, create an account over there, start following people.
Yeah.
And just FAFO.
Yeah. Well, I think with GitHub too, like I think GitHub has like direct integrations into like Cursor and tools like that now, where you can find a repository where something's already pretty well built for you, pull it into Cursor and just start building off of it. Just fork what's already out there.
I don't want to say it's so easy, but it's the time that we're in right now. It's like, man, you got an idea, you want to solve something and, you know, solve it for yourself. But again, thinking of the opportunities, you about to, you know, lose your job, or your industry is becoming more obsolete, or you see opportunities. Maybe it's more that you're seeing like, oh shoot, there's a gap here that I can automate with this AI mindset. Mm-hmm. And just start searching around, see what people have already built.
Well, and it really blows me away because I don't think most people think this way, right? Like talking to a lot of people, like they don't think in the way of like, oh, AI can build me tools, AI can make my life more productive, AI can actually help me create a business so I can get out of the job I don't like doing. I don't really think people think of it like that. I think people see AI and they think, okay, they're talking about AI. AI is obviously ChatGPT, which is what people use to cheat on their homework, right? Like that's what people think of when they think of AI. The majority of the world, that's what they still think of. It's actually a very small group of people who look at AI in this way and go, holy crap, this can actually change my life if I'm using it the right way. And it's, you know, clearly changed my life, clearly changed your life. Mm-hmm. Like we both built entire careers off of what AI is capable of now. But the majority of the world is still thinking of it as like a machine that cheats on homework for you and is one day going to have robots that rise up and kill us all, right? Like that's what the majority of the world thinks of when they think of AI. They think of cheating on homework and Terminator-like scenarios.
Yeah. And like I'm like, you know what? Is that possible? Bring it on. I think this is fun. You know, it's like it's a crazy time. And I was going to make a note too that the fact that you have built something the last, what is it, 2.5 years, I think it is. And you know, that's been about roughly how long we've been working kind of independently, I guess we'll say. Right. You know, you were on the podcast here. We had business for a lot of years before that. The cool thing, something that we've both done independently, is build something, I wouldn't say from scratch, because it's all leveraging the foundation we built for so many years. Mm-hmm. And every single person listening and watching has that same opportunity. It's like, where are you currently at? What are the relationships, knowledge, whatever it is, industry ends, and like build from there. Like, don't feel like you got to start something from total scratch. Like you jumping into AI, doing videos and future tools might seem like it's like, whoa, Matt just went totally like, no. Yeah. I know that's not true. Sure. Was it fresh? Yes, in a lot of ways, but yeah. And like, so I guess caution to like, don't just start something from scratch where you're like burning the ships or burning the boats necessarily.
Yeah, no, I always suggest like, if you're going to start building stuff with AI, build it as like a side hustle first. If you've got a job that's paying your income, like don't give that up yet. Like start building something, see if it can make income. And if it surpasses your current job income, then cool. Yeah. Now start looking at like what your next move is. But like, it's so easy to just do as a side hustle right now, is like a side bonus income on top of your regular job. But yeah, I mean, going back to like your last point too, is like, I don't know how often I hear people go like, I sprouted out of nowhere, or like I was an overnight success or whatever.
I've seen a lot of these comments. I'm like, I just chuckle.
Yeah. And I'm like, I put my first YouTube video up in 2009. I've been actually doing content marketing, you know, either by myself or with a partner like Joe or Bradley or Josh Bartlett, or like I've had partners over the years, but it's always been in this like content space where I've been trying to put out content and build a business around content. I mean, that's been the game I've been playing for almost 16 years now, you know?
Absolutely. I mean, that's how you and I started. I mean, you were doing some of that prior to, and we worked together at your parents' shutter company, you know, and it was all content. But what I was going to say, it's like, if you look hard enough, we might have already taken these offline. Yeah. With the good old samurai videos.
Oh, yeah.
Like, We did some YouTube stuff
And
early
that was going back to
days.
like '07, I think.
Yeah, it might have been. I
Yeah.
think that might have been a different channel.
Yeah, it was.
potentially.
We had
Okay.
like it wasn't our personal channels yet.
Yeah. So I don't know if that'll see the light of day ever again, but
I don't know if I wanted to. Me with my like cut off sleeves, and we're sitting around drinking Coronas in front of a 1983 or '89 Suzuki Samurai.
legitimately.
And then
On like a
calling,
Friday night where we're just,
calling people aliens randomly because we've got a buzz.
Corona buzz.
Yeah.
Skunk beer. Yeah, that was early days, man. Yeah.
We've been doing this for
like,
a long time, and I think a lot of people, I know at least, speaking for myself, I know like a lot of people just saw me sort of come up over the last 2.5 years because of the AI stuff, but it's like we've been playing this game for a long time. And going back to what you're saying is like, I think everybody has to look at it like a Venn diagram, right? So for me, I've studied digital marketing for almost 20 years now, right? Like I feel so old saying that, but it's true, right? We were doing it in the artisan days, right?
Yeah.
So like I've been studying digital marketing, things like copywriting and funnel building and list building and email marketing and you name it, all of the stuff under that umbrella of digital marketing, we've been studying for like 20 years now. When it comes to video production, I probably didn't get as into it until about, I don't know, I think I really got into video production around 2020, right? It was like around COVID, you and I went and got that studio in El Cajon. And when we got that studio, I remember you were on vacation or something. And like, I went and ordered a shit ton of camera equipment and lighting equipment and sound equipment. And when you came back, I had built like a recording studio for us.
That was pretty cool. Yeah.
And so it was around 2020 that I really got into video production. And then in 2021, we started working with Randy, who's like a video producer by trade. He actually films like Mariners games and Seahawks and stuff like that.
Everything Seattle.
Yeah, everything Seattle. And then we started working with him. He taught us how to be much better video producers, how to get higher quality content, how to cut out the fluff of our videos, all of that kind of stuff.
The run of show where you have everything kind of organized.
Yeah, he taught us how to use, like, I didn't really get into editing with DaVinci Resolve until we started working with Randy and all that kind of stuff. Right. So if you look at my Venn diagram, I already had 2 circles of it, digital marketing and video production. I just added AI as like a third circle to that Venn diagram. And then I found that sweet spot in the middle of AI, marketing, and video production. Right. And I just put all 3 of those together. And these other 2, I'd spent 20 years on one of them, 5 or 6 years on the other. And now adding AI into the mix, it was like, all right, we found that perfect blend of sort of skill sets that all work as something that works together.
But you had the WordPress classroom, so like you're recording tutorial videos for ages. I wouldn't call it really video. I mean, it was using online video, but like you, I think, have always been like the best trainer, someone that can walk through step by step, like big picture, but also like here's how to actually get something done. And obviously, it comes out on YouTube, your videos now. So you've been practicing that muscle for nearly 20 years as well.
Yeah. I mean, it is. I have been trying to make videos since 2009. I mean, like the YouTube channel has been around since 2009. I actually left my very first YouTube video up just because I knew people would go and like look at what the first one was. And I think it was like a video about how to hide affiliate links or something like that.
I'm sure I've seen it. I got to look back at it now and see what it's all about.
Yeah. I mean, all of the recent comments are like, oh, I just came here to see what Matt's first video was. And, stuff like that now. But like I've been putting videos online since 2009. The WordPress classroom, like looking back to that launched in 2009 as well. And I remember I made the videos. I think I was using Camtasia back then to record the videos.
I think you were, because you were on PC or no.
Yeah, it would have been on PC back in 2009. Yeah. So I was using Camtasia to record, and I was using Sony Vegas to edit.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
That was my editor of choice. But then I could not for the life of me figure out how to put them online, right? I knew I can upload them to YouTube, but if I put them on YouTube, then people would be able to find them, and then they wouldn't pay for my course about WordPress. So I didn't want to put them on YouTube. And then like, I don't think Vimeo existed yet. There wasn't really much out there. And then that's when we came across our buddy Josh Bartlett. Josh Bartlett was like, you can use Amazon S3 to publish videos. He showed me how to use that to publish videos on my website. And then after that, he went and built the program called Easy Video Suite, which turned into like a multi-million-dollar company for him. But back at the time, like I had no idea like how to go from I have this video made, how do I get it on the internet so people can see, but not publicly available like on YouTube? And I remember that was like a months-long struggle to figure that out.
Man, we are dinosaurs. But it's so true. I remember exactly those days. And it's funny how we remember, like, nope, those were the PC days. Remember that app, and because it's accurate. And the flip cams. You can't forget the flip cams.
We had flip cams or Kodak ZI8 or ZI8, as some call it.
We call it. Yeah, we go back, y'all. Green screens in the living room. Yeah, we've done all
Even
that
before that, I was using a Sony digital ELF camera, like one of the little small rectangle cameras that like I loved that little camera because it was like it could fit in your pocket, but it also shot videos. I used that before I got my flip cam, and then eventually got my ZI8.
Well, it had all the HD capabilities that the Z did.
Yeah.
And then, those were the days. No, these are the days, damn it. Yeah. All right, so what I want to end on is another thing I'm going to pull on the screen, Matt, so be prepared. Mm-hmm. You'll be familiar because you just posted this like last night or something. And I thought it was very timely. So speaking of YouTube, basically, Matt, and I'll point you guys to this because I think it was a freaking awesome case study. You know, you're like literally breaking down what's working for you the most right now on your YouTube channel. And, you know, I know from our private conversations when we're having coffee without the recording happening, other than iPhone spying on us, that, you know, you tell me all these little experiments you're doing, and I think that's where it's like a nice outlet for you. It's great for me because I'm learning as well. So thank you. But like you put it on blast on Twitter, and you like broke it all down, you know, everything from long form videos, which are like your news videos are like some 20-ish minutes around there. And then you have, you're doing shorts. So YouTube shorts, TikTok or an Instagram, basically anywhere a short can be. And then now live streams, you know, and you're doing those basically all, I mean, every day there's something coming out, it seems like. But
I know I have a piece of content coming out 7 days a week. So my content
you?
strategy is like every Monday I do a live stream. Every Wednesday I put a random video on YouTube. It might be a tutorial. It might be some big news announcement. It might be like top 15 tools to accomplish X or whatever. Right. And then every Friday I do a news breakdown of here's all the news that happened throughout the week. And then 7 days a week, every single day, I drip out a new short, which some of my shorts are actually purposefully designed to be shorts. Like I script them, I record them, and I make a short. Most of my shorts now are actually clips from either my long form videos or my live streams, though. And so that's
this
sort of my breakdown.
This is pretty intriguing, though. Like you think shorts are a wasted time because what this post that if you're watching, that is, you basically you're breaking down your views to earnings.
Yeah.
In a nutshell, based off of these different formats, the long form, short, and then live streams. And it's fascinating. We're not going to break down all the stuff, but I mean, you got screenshots here. I'm assuming you did not Photoshop these or Gemini
I did not
these.
Photoshop them.
It's Geminiing them now, I think is the new term. But yeah, I mean, like, but you can see the breakdown of this was a short, 3 million views. You got 12,000 subscribers, made about a little over $400.
Yep.
And then you go over here to your, I'm assuming this is a long form. Yeah.
Yep.
Long form, 1.2 million views, 19,000 subscribers, 13,500 bucks. I'm assuming that was on, it's almost a year long, right?
Yeah, so it was 10 or 11 months ago. Yeah.
Yeah. And this guy, a couple months? So a little over 2 months for the short.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. And then about a year for the long. I mean, it makes sense. These things are evergreen, and it's obviously still climbing.
Yeah. The point that I was trying to make on that, though, was like a short that gets 3 million views makes $400.
Bingo.
A long form that gets less than half of that, 1.2 million views, made over $13,000. Like, what percentage of higher is that? It's just kind of showing that like shorts, you can't really do it for the money.
Yeah. And obviously this is ad revenue through Google, right?
That's ad revenue through Google. Yeah.
So like, of course you could have sponsorships for shorts to bump that up, but yeah, point taken. It's interesting. And then the live stream, like talk about that, because I thought this whole strategy of you can gather attention through these other ways, but then the live stream itself, and I know it's a newer thing. Well, actually, this live stream you show, I'm still looking at a screenshot here, everyone.
Yeah, that one's actually over a year old.
A little over a year old.
I just picked the one that had the most views.
But still, it's worthy, but like not nearly as many subscribers, nowhere near, but the views are lower. Higher revenue than the shorts, of course, $1,900. But what you made a point is like, this is where you bond with your community, right?
Yeah.
Like this is where
Yeah.
you're really the glue of everything.
At the end of the day, so like YouTube really has like three main types of content. You've got your long form videos, which are just like pre-recorded normal videos you publish on YouTube. You have shorts, which historically have been 1 minute vertical videos. Now you can go up to 3 minutes, but historically they've been 1 minute. I still publish 1 minute because I like that constraint of figuring out how to get it into a minute or less. And then you have live streams. You can argue they now have a fourth with podcasts, right? But how
about community posts? Would you put that in there?
Community posts don't really do much for your channel. Like you can't make revenue off community posts. There's zero, like they don't put ads on community posts, right?
True.
And community posts only get shown to your subscribers. So you're not going to grow subscribers. It's just like a quick way to communicate with your audience, right? I'll use community posts from time to time, but it's usually like, hey guys, I know I post news videos on Fridays. It's coming out tomorrow instead because I'm traveling today or whatever, right? It's just like a way to make quick announcements to the audience on there. So I do use those sometime, but not very often. But like the short form is really actually pretty good at growing new subscribers for your channel and getting discovery. The problem is a lot of people who only watch short forms are never going to watch your long form. So you'll grow subscribers, but you're not really going to convert a lot of them to long form viewers. But if you keep posting short forms, a lot of those people will keep watching your short forms. Right. So you still have that engagement with those people. They're just going to stick with short forms. The live streams, they don't grow subscribers at all. Right. Like if people don't know who you are, they're not already subscribed. They're probably not going to be alerted of your live stream. They're probably not going to show up. But it's like the best way to build that engagement. It's the best way to build a bond with your audience. Like I mentioned earlier in this call, like I love getting on and just for the most part, I do like 3-hour AMAs. Right. I might have a couple little bullets of like, if nobody's asking any questions, here's some areas I'll take the conversation, but I almost never even need to look at my notes because it's like from moment one, people are asking me questions and it's just off to the races. I'm just interacting. I'm just going, all right, somebody asked this. Let me show you a tool that can do that. Oh, somebody asked this. Let me actually break down my workflow of how I do that. Oh, somebody asked this. All right, here's how I do that. And it's just like, it turns into this 3-hour like AMA where I'm just breaking down my workflows, sharing what I'm doing, answering questions. It's just like a 3-hour AMA. And that really, really builds like a good bond with people because they're like, oh, he's actually interacting with me. Like I can actually feel like there's two-way communication. I ask him something, he responds, he actually shows me stuff. And that also turns into what's called super chats where people can essentially tip you if they like what you said. Or they're paying like $20 or whatever. And if they pay that money, it makes their comment more prominent in the chat so that it's more likely it'll get read. And so what ends up happening is you'll do these live streams, you're bonding with people, people love it. They start like tipping you, they start super chatting you. Next thing you know, like people are super chatting you to like, to basically get you to respond specifically to their question. So people are interacting with you. And if they're like really appreciating what you're talking about, they'll basically be like tipping you and throwing money at you, like as a thank you. On this live stream that you're showing, I think later on in the live stream, somebody actually gave me just $200. They're like, hey, love what you do. Here's $200. And I'm like, oh,
that's
damn.
Yeah, that's rad. I mean, it's a side benefit. I don't think I ever think about. Most people probably don't.
No, I'm definitely not doing the live streams for that. It's just kind of like, oh, that's cool. Like when I started doing live streams, that was not even on my radar. I literally didn't think I would make a cent off of live streams. I was just like, I'm going to do them because I want to interact with people. But then those like super chats and stuff start coming in, and then, one or two people do it. Other people see that, oh, he's actually responding quicker to the stuff that has like a super chat attached to it. I'm going to ask my question with, a couple bucks attached to it. It's like when we used to go to the dueling piano bars, right? You can go and ask for a specific song for the dueling piano people, but the people that stick their song with a 20 are much more likely to get that song played.
You get their attention.
Yeah. And I'm not doing it for that. Like that is not my motive of the live streams. Yeah. But it is really, really cool to see.
I mean, it's attention. That's all you're going for. And it makes perfect, and it's someone that wants to give back to you, which is rad. So yeah, go check out the live streams. That's kind of why I'm showing this on screen here too. And obviously follow Mr. Matt Wolfe over there. Well, it's Mr. eFlow, but Matt Wolfe here. And you just published this video literally seconds before hopping on this call. So yeah, I'll have to watch that later. Matt, we have gone longer than I budgeted for, but that's okay. Is there any, before you go get that hair did, like what other, anything that you want to share before hopping off? Anything you're excited, frightened about, maybe anything that to close this one up, and I think we'll do another coffee date podcast shortly.
Yeah, I don't, nothing that I'm really like worried about. I do think we are going to see a lot of like AI generated junk, right? I've always kind of worried about that, but I think that's already here. I think like there's so much junk on the internet that, you know, that's one of the big complaints people have is like, it's going to generate so much slop. We're going to have so many crappy articles and crappy memes all over like social media. I'm like, have you been on the internet recently? Like 90% of it's already crap. Like, what are you talking about?
Yep. I mean, we already went through the election cycle, you know, at least this last time. We're all still living most of, well,
yeah. I mean, like most search results when you Google something these days are like somebody who optimized to get like an affiliate click or something that, you know, is getting stolen by Honey apparently. But I don't know if you heard that whole story.
I didn't know that. No, oh, fun. Good
yeah, there's a whole big old controversy there. But anyway, we won't get into that. You know, I do worry about more and more like AI slop. I do think that AI video in 2025 is going to get even better than what we're seeing right now. I think 2025 is going to be the year where we get AI video that people really go, I can't even tell this is AI. I mean, we've already seen some videos that you have to look really close, but you're like, damn, that is good. I think 2025, we're going to hit that moment where like somebody's like, people are going to get fooled by an AI video and think it's real, and it's going to go viral and it's going to spread, and then everybody's going to find out later that that was AI, right?
Well, like you said Sora is, you know, it's ChatGPT or OpenAI's video, but you have Veo.
Yeah, Veo 2 is even better, but it's not publicly accessible yet. It's like only some beta testers have access.
Yeah, but what you showed me, because you made like a rhino.
Yeah,
I think it was, right? That was with Veo too. Right?
That was Veo. Yeah, Veo. Yeah,
whatever it is. And yeah, I was like, this is crazy. Yeah, and it just looks like you're right there in the Serengeti.
Yeah. I still don't know if it's supposed to be Veo or Veo. I keep on hearing people pronounce it Veo, but then also Veo is look in Spanish, right?
Or then you have video, Veo. I don't know.
Yeah, so I don't know how it's supposed to be pronounced, but like on my YouTube channel, I always get people in the comments correcting my pronunciation, but I'm like, I think they're both right.
Who knows? Yeah. Cool. So yeah, I agree. The video thing is gonna be wild, and whenever that's released by Google, DeepMind, right?
Yeah. I think that's gonna be wild. You know, we have Sora Turbo, which isn't even the full model of Sora. I think we're gonna see a much better version of Sora coming out. So that's coming. That'll be out sometime in 2025. Is like the much more improved version of Sora. I think. So like, if my big predictions are better video, better and better 3D object generation from AI, like creating game assets and stuff like that with AI, and then all the agent stuff that we talked about earlier, I think that's going to be a big thing in 2025 as well. Other than that, I don't really have many ending remarks. I think we covered a lot of ground, and we've covered a lot of ground in previous episodes that we've done together. So, you know, we've covered marathons worth of AI and YouTube discussion over time between our episodes. But you know, check out the Next Wave podcast, check out Future Tools, and check out my YouTube channel.
There you go. Subscribe everywhere and go get on
like, subscribe, hit that bell notification.
Ding. There you go. No sound effects.
Also subscribe to the Hustle and Flowchart podcast and
YouTube video.
Yeah, and Joe's going to be cameoing on some of my live streams in the future.
There you go. Keep a lookout. All right, y'all. Matt, appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, you too, man. Good talking.
Next time. Yeah.